What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of your favorite podcast, The Misplaced American. I'm your host, Justin White. I want to give a shout out to all the people listening. If you're a first time listener, thanks for listening. If you're a regular listener, welcome back. Shout out to all the NHS workers and all the stay at home parents, pretty much anyone, just in an uncomfortable situation. Shout out to everyone. I have a really, really different episode this week. A buddy of mine from America, but we met in the military, who lives in Germany currently. He actually just survived his encounter with the COVID-19 or the coronavirus. He tells a story about that a little bit during the podcast, and we kind of just catch up, about our lives, talking about becoming veterans and how the military life was. It's really, really interesting, really in depth. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Sit back, relax, and yeah, subscribe to both. I'll have his details in the bio. His name is John Cruz, and I hope you guys enjoy the podcast. Living in the UK for about, I want to say, 3 years now, and I love it here. So, introduce yourself.
I'm John Cruz. I'm currently living in Germany. I've been in the Air Force for 8.5 years. I'm going to be transitioning out of active duty and into the reserves next year in June of 2021. Justin and I actually met in Aviano at my first base, our first base. So that was back in, what was
20,
that?
I joined in 2011. So I think I got there December 2011. So I'm not sure when you got
there.
there.
I think I was around the same time frame too. Because you were one of my first friends. I think.
Yeah.
When did we
met
in?
Is it FTAC?
I think it was FTAC, man.
Because it was you and I was in with essentially all the cops. It was like me, two crew chiefs, and then the rest were all cops.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it was FTAC.
Yeah, it might have been. And then, Aviano was, because that's how we met. And then, because I remember you being all about wanting to travel all the time. And at the time, I don't think I was big into travel. I was super shy. And all my friends were all travelers. I think you were friends with King. Were you friends with King? King and Passion?
I remember Passion, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember they were traveling before I was, and snowboarding, and Stoiner and all of them were all snowboarding and things before I was.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, man.
How do you like living in Germany?
Dude, I've loved it so far. I mean, I've been here about 4 years now. I'm gonna be hitting 5 this August. We got here in August of 2000, and I believe it was 16. Man, time is just flying like that. I'd say my dislikes about this area is the weather. As you know, in the UK, we're pretty close by, so it's always raining here. The sun's never out except in the summertime or now. And I'm from California originally, so I'm so used to being in the sunlight, wearing shorts, Hawaiian shirt, tank top, just chilling. And then over here, I'm always have to wear layers, and I'm always getting sick over here too.
So wait, have you since Aviano just stayed overseas?
Yeah. So my first base was in Italy, and then in Sri Lanka, Turkey, and then here. So I've been overseas my whole time.
So you sound similar to me. I left Aviano and then went straight to Guam, which is, I guess, considered America, but it's like a territory. Went to Guam, and then I spent 1 year in South Carolina. That's when I separated from the military. And then I got out of the military like that year, and then came back overseas and living in the UK since 2017, because I got out. Yeah, 2017 I got out and then moved over.
Oh, so that's when you got out, is in 2017?
Yep. And
okay.
I don't regret it one bit.
I hear that a lot. To those all viewing this video and podcast, the purpose of this video, we're going to be discussing our stories of what our career was like in the Air Force, what our transition out was, and what we're doing now, what Justin started with his podcast, his brand, and then what some of the processes were like for him with his transition out, and then obviously VA disability, what that process was like, and then what his mindset was going into starting his own brand. And we're both similar with our entrepreneur mindsets, wanting to make something better for ourselves and leave a lasting impression on this earth and society, and just make a name for ourselves. And that, I think for me too, that's the main reason I want to get out of the military, is to be able to do something more and not just be, clocking in from 9 to 5, but in my case, right, shift work. But yeah, that's the main goal of this video today and podcast. And so if any of y'all have any questions, make sure you comment below and hit the like button on both our channels. on this video, and then also subscribe to both of our channels and hit the notification bell so you guys don't miss out on any future videos or podcasts. And with that being said, I wanted to ask you too, what was your transition like when you got out of the military back in 2017?
So I use the word culture shock a lot in my podcast, mainly because I like to travel. I talk about travel a lot, but I guess you can use the word culture shock in this aspect because I went from every single day of my life for 6 years being told what to do, when to wake up, what to wear, when to be at a place, how to be at a place, who was coming. So you have to act a certain way. I went from such a strict structure to literally overnight. All right, go be free and do what you want to do. And it's and like I guess for people who've never been in the military, you think, oh, that sounds great. But for people who've been in like their majority of their, well, not a majority, but a section, like a whole section of your life where you don't have to think, and now you're put in a position where you you have to figure things out on your own. It is kind of scary. Luckily, you can go through a class it's called TAPS, I believe.
Yeah.
You go through transition, and they tell you everything. You know, when you get out, if you're a master sergeant or whatever rank you are in the military, get used to someone younger than you calling you man or what's up, bro, rather than hearing yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, and stuff like that. And I remember my biggest thing they told me in the class was make sure you utilize the VA benefits. And so me getting out, I always heard about people saying the VA is crap. You're going to get out of the military. You're going to struggle. And I remember I had one NCO, my flight chief, who, and I'll never forget him telling me this. He told me getting out of the military and trying to pursue anything other than like my job in the military is a waste of time, and I'm probably not going to make it.
Oh wow, that's a toxic leader, and wow.
Yeah, let me tell you. Well, because are you still security forces?
Yeah, I am. I'm still a security force right now.
So you've also encountered your fair share of, I guess the term I can use is misery loves company. So a lot of miserable people trying to constantly bring you down because what you're doing is so different from what everyone else is doing, and you seem to try to make yourself happy. So they're not happy about it because you're not as miserable as they are.
Oh yeah.
So I encountered a lot of that, and that was my last deciding factor was him telling me, you know, you getting out of the military is a bad choice, and you're not going to make it. I was like, oh,
that is
okay. But getting out was probably the best. Like it just flowed so smoothly. Like one thing after the other was just like unfolding in front of me. Like I had a place to stay. Obviously I was married, but
when did you get married?
I got married in 2016.
Oh, okay. And you met her when you were stationed in the UK?
And stationed in Guam, actually.
Guam, okay. What assignments were you at?
So
how long were you in the military?
Aviano for 2 years, Guam for 2 years. Yeah, because I was in tech school. My tech school was almost like 6 months long. So I would say, yeah, Aviano for a little over 2 years, Guam for 2 years, and I finished in South Carolina. So I did a total of 6 years.
Okay.
And yeah, I finished in South Carolina, and I finished in honor guard actually, because I didn't want to be a crew chief anymore. I couldn't stand the idea of.
So you were a crew chief when you were
F-16 crew chief, and it is definitely not the, like I said, if you know, you're security forces, so you know the hours.
No, I think we work hand in hand all the time with all those operations.
They tell you, your hour is going to be this to this, but you have to be there early and you have to leave late because you make sure everything's done. So you come in for an 8 to 9 shift, 8-9 hour shift, and leave 13 hours later.
Yep. Oh, and by the way, you're on standby, and note you can't drink alcohol either. That was Aviano, from what I remember.
Oh, I remember
even at Aviano, they had a board in the front of the gate. Time since last DUI or alcohol related incident in front of Aviano's main gate.
Oh yeah,
wow. It was so bad there.
I just remember being in the dorms in Aviano and always seeing, I think it was called 30 for 30 or something like that.
Yeah.
You hear an alarm go off and you just see security forces in like boxers or like t-shirts and like battle rattle just running across the field. And we would just sit outside with our beer at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon watching these guys, security forces, run across the field half naked and like helmets.
Hey, we had some good times in Aviano though, man. We traveled a lot. I remember we went to Florence. I remember that. I think that was one of our last trips out there.
I thought it was Milan, but it was Florence because it was snowing. And I think your friend Kyle was driving because I didn't know how to drive in the snow. Was it Kyle? I think his name was Kyle.
I think it was. Yeah.
and I remember it was blinding snow, and and like he's like oh, I'm used to this, and he's like flying down the road. You can't see the lines on the road. You can't see anything in front of us, and we somehow make it to Florence like 8 hours later. It seemed
Yeah,
like.
I remember it was super windy too, and for those of you who have never been to Italy, the roads there are really bad. It's there. I think the roads are actually made out of like seashells or
Yeah,
whatever. It's grinded
coral or
seashell.
something, because it's more affordable or it's cheaper to make the roads with.
Yeah,
So
and I think everyone we knew combined has been in a car accident in Italy. And when I was there, I even got in a car accident,
mhm.
and insurance rates were crazy in Italy. But yet you still saw those brand new airmen going to the new car sales lot buying a brand new Mustang with a 20% APR.
Yeah, but that's Air Force. I mean, that's military culture. You know, you join the military. I'm locked in for X amount of years, and I may as well get a nice car out of it. I never did because I unfortunately was never blessed enough for deployment. Every base I went to was they either just got back from one or they were about to go on one, so I couldn't. And then
That was
I
me
missed
too. I've
my
never
window
deployed
every single
either.
time, and I'm so angry because I feel like my military experience was not complete because I can never say I deployed to X locations. I've been TDY. For
Mhm.
people who don't know, I guess TDY is like kind of like a mini deployment. I guess in the easy way to describe it. I've been TDY a lot. Like I've been all over the world, Africa, Poland, even TDY to South Carolina, Fort Jackson Army Base, and I just never deployed. I've always wanted to go like Afghanistan, Iraq.
At least once, or twice,
Yeah.
just to
Oh,
get
so
the
have you never been?
experience.
Have you
I've
never
never been
been?
deployed either because I've been at PL1 bases my whole career, except the base I'm at now. It's not a high security tempo. Um, but yeah, I've never gotten the chance to deploy. So I'm looking at my counter. I forgot what it's called, but the counter for when you're deploying, and mine
Oh
is
yeah,
like
your
super.
your band or something like that. Your
Yeah, mine is so high
IT.
right now.
Okay.
The name just slipped my head right now, but yeah, it's super. It's like in the triple digits or more already.
So how do you like being in security forces? Like how's that? Like I know you were all when I first met you, you were super gung ho about it. Like you everything I saw was like your guns and your patches and like you were the guy. I was like, yeah, he's going to be the guy who loves security forces and makes it all 20 years as security
That's
forces.
what everyone always says. But I mean, that even goes back to the first YouTube channel I had. I mean, I was super gung ho. I still have that passion and drive now, but it's not like when I first came in. Obviously, but that just comes with the territory and the experience
Yeah.
of being in the military for so long. But to answer your question, I mean, I'm not one of those gung ho like, yeah, security forces. I mean, I love the career field, what it's done for me, how much it's changed me, how much of a leader it's made me, and a better person in general. It's really defined who I am today, and I don't think I would be the person I am today if I didn't join this career field. But as far as me having the passion for the job, I do not have the passion for the job that I'm in, and that's the main reason too why I want to get out of active duty. I'm going to be going in the reserves, so I'll still be serving, but
Okay.
it's only one month out of the year, so it's an IMA position. But yeah, so that I want to find something that I'm passionate about and love doing. And for me, that's videography, and I also want to get into real estate. And for me, like when I'm doing videography, when I'm editing videos, when I'm planning shoots, it does not feel like work. So I'm sure, like the same with you, when you're shooting these podcasts, interviews, it does not feel like work. I can be up for 12 hours editing. It's fun for me. So
Yeah.
that's
Sitting
something
in
I
bed,
want
just
to
like
have.
yeah, sitting in bed with like with your headphones on, like and like because since I've been here in the UK, I've encountered a lot of creatives, and the one like I'll sit in bed like writing a script, something I'm planning for the future, planning a book, writing a book I'm trying to do, this podcast, and next thing you know, I'm up to like 1 o'clock in the morning just reading stuff or like learning how to do things, and I didn't realize I was up so late. And everyone, or I wake up super early, or I wake up at 2 in the morning with an idea, and I grab my phone, I start typing this idea before I go back to bed. And I never understood that when I was prior to creating things. I'd always thought it was weird. And people said, "Oh, keep your notepad next to your bed because creatives don't sleep." And I was like, "That's crazy. I love my sleep." But now it's like the idea of sleeping through an idea and then possibly losing that great idea like scares me. So I
Yep.
constantly keep something ready to write something down next to my bed.
to
You know?
to capture it down, because that's true. I mean, as creators, you have this great idea, and if you don't write it down, you might forget it. I mean, I find myself like, oh, where's my phone at? I'll be like, oh, I put my phone somewhere and I can't find it now.
Yeah.
That's I definitely agree with you on that. And with that, like, what made you want to start this channel, the Misplaced American? What does this mean? Is exactly what's the mission behind it, or vision?
So initially, I started it because one of my best friends, my best friend's here. always, tells me, listen to podcasts, listen to podcasts. And I'm the kind of person who I only listen to music in the car. And the thought of people talking is like weird to me. So I was like, I'm gonna start listening to podcasts. So I came across the Joe Budden podcast, and I love hip hop. It's a hip hop podcast, and but it was so much more than just hip hop. He talked about his life. He talked about current events, and I was like, this is really interesting. And so I told all my British friends, I sit around and I talk, and they're like, man, you should like do a radio show. You should do a podcast. You're so interesting. Your voice is so cool to listen to. And it's like, you know what? You're right. I'm going to try this. And I initially started it because, it's called The Misplaced American because everyone loved hearing my travel stories. For people who don't know me, I maybe 20 countries.
Wow.
I love traveling. And like if I wasn't traveling every 3 to 6 months, I felt out of place. I felt like I didn't belong somewhere. And I've always wanted to be the new person. So even when I was younger, I didn't really fit in as well because I always had this like different mindset than people around me. I always had to keep moving. So, excuse me. So I guess it's called The Misplaced American because I feel more myself being not in a normal state. I guess a steady environment or like
you like being in an uncomfortable situation or something
I'm
new.
very comfortable being uncomfortable.
Like a chameleon almost, so you can adapt to the environment.
And it makes me feel good. Like I love being able to be thrown into, like throw me to the wolves. I love it. Like let me adapt. Like throw me somewhere where I don't know anyone, and I can almost guarantee you I'll make friends, or I'll make myself at home, and I love that. So, the podcast is about that. It's about talking to people, from across the world. I have friends literally in every country, and I just talk to them. Right now it's Zoom calls. Unfortunately, because of the coronavirus going on, the lockdowns. But I have friends who I talk to about from writing books to actors to travelers. I have friends who who are professional wrestlers. So this is what it is. It's about like it's me talking about traveling, visiting people, my life, my situations I've encountered with racism or situations I've encountered with life, which is not feeling like I belong. So it's kind of where the name came from.
I see. Okay. And when did you start it?
March. So my birthday was March 13th. The lockdown started. So I would say like March 17th-ish, so mid-March. Right on, because for my birthday, I bought myself podcast equipment. I'm like, I'm going to buy 2 mics and like a camera stand and all this stuff, and I'm going to do it. And yeah, I'm not the kind of person who like kind of half-asses anything. Excuse my language. If you
go all in. Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. So
I think it speaks character too, because I'm the same way too. Like when I work on something and you're putting your name on it, you're branding it as a product you're making, you want it to be the best thing too. Right. So you started in March, so that was like a couple months ago then.
Yeah, and I try to put an episode out every week, just because I'm all about consistency. And all of my favorite podcasts, I get really angry if they miss a week. I'll listen and I take it personally. I'm like, wow, how dare you not put out another episode? I love this. And I've caught myself being angry. And when they did come back, I stopped listening for like 2 or 3 episodes. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to be that guy. So I'm going to do my best. Even if I only have 1 or 2 listeners, I'm going to do my best to please those 1 or 2 listeners as much as possible. And maybe one day I'll get from that 1 or 2 to turn to 100, 200, and then 1,000, 2,000. And so, but yeah, but again, I just don't know quit. I always just want to kind of keep going and until I essentially fail. So that's my thing.
I think you have a good thing going with your channel, a good mission ahead of you as well. Because I think it's really captivating of your personality and then being able to highlight others and share their experiences as well as yours. So it really helps a lot of other people out there too.
Yeah, but I know you, unlike I said, with me, it's more of I just went from going from, talking and planning to actually doing. For as long as I've known you, you've always been a doer. Like I remember in Aviano, you just always had these plans to like, let's do this to make money. Let's try this. Let's go here. Let's do this. I was like, man, like calm down. Like let me relax.
Take a chill, Phil Cruz.
I'm 20 years old. I'm 21 years old. Man, let me get drunk for the first time. Like let me party out in public for the first time. And like while everyone's partying, you were the guy who was like, hey, I'm planning this to make money. Like it's like 2:00 in the morning and I'm drunk. Like don't message me about making money right now.
Yeah, I think that my first base was actually where I got started with the whole entrepreneurship journey. I'm saying not saying we didn't have good times partying because we did. That was my favorite
Right.
base to explore and get out there. I miss that location too. But that's where I growing up in the military, young, dumb, A1C, spending money on booze, partying, girls, stupid stuff. If I could go back, I would have done it all different and focused more on preparing for your future. But I mean, I don't want to say that I didn't enjoy those times. You only get that experience once in your life. But I just wish I had more mentorship and guidance back then. I would
So
have
what?
been a lot faster on
So what?
track now.
So what got you from? Because last time I guess I really talked to you was the whole. 'Cause I know you're still doing it. Is it the morale project or
Yeah,
the more?
morale check. Actually, I'm
Yeah,
wearing a shirt too. It's
yeah. I was looking at
Patriotic
it.
American. And if y'all are watching this, make sure you hit down in the description below. I'll post a link to my clothing brand. It's a veteran military humor clothing company. But this says Patriotic American. It's a pun off of that Star Wars TV show
The
with
Mandalorian.
the
Yeah,
Mandalorian. But yeah, so I started that, I want to say a year and a half ago, almost 2 years now.
yeah.
I started that. And it's really been an awesome experience too, because not only with the mission to give back to veterans, I'm able to create create art and put it on apparel. And I mean, not if people don't even end up buying it, for me, that's the process of doing it is fun for me. And then it expands your skill sets too. But what I really want to do is when I go back to the States is really push the brand more, because I'm kind of limited here in Germany. I don't hold any inventory here because of taxes and all that. So everything is drop shipped from a third party. So
Right.
everything I order, someone else ships from the States. But that's something I really want to start pushing harder when I get to the States. And especially all my guns are in the States too. And we're a gun company. We love guns, patriotic. So I can't do that over here.
Have you found much of a have I guess in Germany, have you found many people who are on board for like, buying clothing or like buying like patches or whatnot yet you saw?
As far as, yeah, I'd say so. I have had a lot of friends, and then even just random people too that would see the brand online and buy some stuff. But as far as like people, I guess having the same mindset as us and stuff, I feel isolated here too. I don't have a lot of people that I can resonate with and have the same mindset with. And I kind of, I'm on board with you how I feel like I'm kind of misplaced. I'm the one that, I'm not trying to make it sound like we're better than everyone, because we're not.
It's just
Just to
different
keep it
mindset,
humble. We're
different
just
thinking.
different. And that's one of the hardest things about being out here too, is that you got to have that support group and those group of people that are on the same track as you to really push you. But I think that's the cool thing about today's society is technology. I mean, you can have mentorship or friends anywhere in the world and stay, connected like this, what we're doing now.
Definitely, I think 2020 is forcing a lot of people to step out of a big comfort zone that we have, which is like going out in public and making friends or making things
Hmm.
happen physically. Like I'm definitely having like without this lockdown, I would not have started this podcast. I don't think. Like I
I
really
completely
really
agree with
wanted
you.
I really wanted to like do it, but I was in I was still in the planning stages. And I'm the kind of guy who talks about it, but doesn't like walk about it. And I was like, you know what? I have time. I refuse to be that guy who sits around and play Xbox all day. So I'm just gonna start planning this and I'm gonna do it. And I did it. And I think this I would never call anything that's such a tragic moment a blessing, but it definitely the situation definitely forced me to be a more creative person. I'll say that. Use my
No,
words.
I definitely hear you on that. And to push back to the whole situation going on with this whole, pandemic, I think it's been a blessing in disguise in some ways, because it's really forced a lot of people, like you said, step out of their comfort zone. It really changed things up, and it really made people get out there and take action, because you have the free time to do it now. What the hell's holding you back? You got all the free time in the world. For those that are essential workers, I mean, you're still having to go to work, but you still have more free time because the mission and job isn't the same as what it regularly would be.
Right.
And that even goes back to, so if y'all don't know, I was exposed to this whole virus back on the 2nd of April, and I was actually hospitalized like a week later, a week and a half later. And I'm still recovering now. I have a slight cough, but when I got to the hospital, the doctors, they checked my pulse and my respiratory system, and they said my breathing levels were at a 93. They put this thing on your finger, and that's like a heavy chain smoker's lungs. And they said a healthy
Wow.
person is 100. Yeah, it was crazy, man. I was scared because the first week it just felt like regular symptoms, like the flu. I had a fever, chills. My legs felt like they were gonna cramp up like crazy. If I looked at my leg, it looked like they were about to be a Charlie horse that's about to pop off. And for me, it was hard to sleep because of it, because my whole legs were just aching. But by day 7, day 8, like I could barely breathe. I could only take like a 3-second breath. I couldn't even have a conversation like this. So it was really scary for me. But to go
Really?
back to this whole pandemic making people stronger, I think once I got this virus and I was in the hospital, it really strengthened my mindset and resiliency. Because I mean, before this whole thing, I mean, I was still a go-getter. I'd still, push towards my goals. But once I got this virus, I was like, shit, this can't happen to me. I'm still young. I'm active. I can't get this virus. I mean, I thought I had it back in December already too. But I was like, I can't get this. And I ended up getting it. And then I was like, you know what? There's people dying from this thing. And I could potentially die. And that's what was like a wake-up call. And gave me a different outlook on life too. And it really, I think, pushed me 10 times harder to now go laser focused 100% into anything I do. So
So
that's
wait,
the positive thing I'm looking at this.
see, that's a scary thing for me because I thought, that same mindset. I was like, like everyone's like, oh, if you're young, you're fine. You're not gonna catch it. And not to put a slight towards older people or anyone with like a grandparents or aunts and uncles with like underlying issues. But I was like, oh, I'm fine. I was the kind of person I was like, oh, if we're young, we're fine. Like not many people are catching. The typical what everyone was saying on Facebook. It's like a bad flu, this and that.
Yeah.
And then
It's
I
not.
started,
It's worse.
yeah. Then I started having people I know were catching it, or people I know work in the hospital were saying like, yo, this is serious. Like people were like dying overnight,
Mm-hmm.
like fast, and like they'll catch it, and like within 2 days, like their lungs are just filled with liquid, filled with like I saw an X-ray, and they're like, this is like 2 days once the virus was confirmed, and it was like the picture was like all white, and it was like the lungs, and it was just full of fluid, and I was like,
Wow.
that's insane. And
Yep.
then like then I saw recently like on Facebook that you had it, and I was like, how did like like
Yeah, man.
for someone who like, because you said you had seasonal asthma, that was like the
Yeah.
peak of your your underlying issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I was like, yo, this is like, so I messaged my other friends about you. I was like, yo, my friend, like, he's younger than me, and he's just as healthy as I am, if not healthier, and he has this, and he essentially felt like he was gonna die, and so it kind of was a wake up call to me, especially seeing you have it, because like I said, you're like, I'm not sure, because it used to be really big in the gym, but I'm not sure, but you, yeah, essentially just as
I'm not
healthy
as
as me.
swole as you anymore, man.
No, my whole life revolves around just lifting weights. Like that was my profession at one point. So, but yeah, man, that's scary. Like, so I mean, excuse me. So did they keep you in the hospital the whole time, or like?
Yeah. So when I was hospitalized, I think it was the 7th or 8th, I was there for 7 days straight. And like, dude, every day my routine, the first 3 days, I couldn't really do much. I was so exhausted. I had this long ass like cable that goes to the respirator or oxygen
Yeah,
tank. And it wasn't those really severe oxygen tanks like in the ICU. And the difference between a general ward and ICU, because I was in a general ward, but the difference is ICU is an intensive care unit. So it's, if you really have severe symptoms, there's doctors monitoring you 24/7, and they have all these machines attached to you to perform the basic human functions that you can't perform anymore. For me, I was still able to breathe on my own. Luckily, I had the respirator, which helped me
right.
breathe even more. And I was able to, still walk around. I was, still hurting though, but I was able to do things on my own without the help of, machines. But the schedule I had in there was every morning they'd come in at like 7 a.m. and they'd give me breakfast. And it felt like a prison, honestly, because the breakfast there was just bread and cheese. And it wasn't even like the good bread. It was
Is
like
this on the base, or is this in the economy?
this off base. Yeah, I was
Oh,
in Guyland-Kirchen, local
oh
area.
wow.
Yeah, so it was kind of scary too. Not everyone spoke English. So I was asking them questions. They're like, oh, I
And the
don't
German language
know.
German language already sounds kind of angry and aggressive. So you're like, oh my god, I'm dying. Oh my god, this is it. This is this is
Let
it.
me just
Like
pull the
they're
cord out
questioning
now.
they're questioning how long I have. This is what they're saying. Dude,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, it was scary,
okay.
man. I mean, for breakfast it was just bread and cheese, and then for lunch, that's what I always look forward to. It was a hot meal, so it was like BMT for me mentally. I was thinking, okay, go from breakfast, then from breakfast to lunch, and from lunch to dinner, and then from dinner go to sleep. That's how I
For
planned my
7 days.
days out. Yeah, for 7 days straight. I didn't
So
have a
can
shower in there. I wore the same
Yeah, that's what I was
clothes the
gonna
whole
ask you. So
time.
like, So like that whole experience, like could anyone visit you? Like was anyone allowed?
No,
I
no
mean,
one could visit you at all. Just the nurses, of course, and the doctors. But every time they came in the room, they had their full like PPE, personal protective equipment on,
yeah.
and they always had to take their gloves off, sanitize. So it was just them, and I
Do
had
you
this little
have?
button I could press for them to come in.
And do you like? I'm not sure about yourself. Like I have a bit of, excuse me, anxiousness when it comes to, excuse me, isolation or things that taking me out of my norm. Did you find yourself like being anxious, like I guess, or reaching a point where maybe not depression, but just fear, like I'm by myself, like essentially 23 hours a day, for that, like you maybe had 1 hour of interaction with nurses and doctors, but but 23 hours a day, you're by yourself in a room.
I think if I didn't have my iPad or my phone, I would have definitely felt that. But because I had my iPad with me and my phone, I think that really mitigated that and relieved that feeling like you're talking about. Because everyone was hitting me up, like messaging me, telling me, "Hey, we're praying for you. We're all thinking of you." People were calling me, and I mean, I couldn't talk to everyone because I could barely talk at the time. But just them constantly checking in on me and talking to me gave me that inspiration and hope that, hey, all these people care about you and all these people want to see you push through this. And that's what kept me going through. I mean, I
Yeah,
never had that feeling like I was going to die. I never had that feeling like, oh shit, this is it. I'm going to toss the towel. I'm going to die tonight. I mean, I got scared though that I couldn't breathe. That's the only thing that scared me. But I never had that feeling. I think with this virus too, once you start letting those thoughts get into your head,
yeah,
that's when it eats at you. Because I remember when I first got the virus, I was watching all these YouTube videos on statistics of death
yeah,
and what happens, what's the timeline like, and that's what was freaking me out. And then when I was in the hospital, I was just watching recovery videos, all the people that recovered, what they did to recover, and something I came across was uh, a lot of the people that recovered, what they were trying to do was stay active. And normally you would think, okay, if you're sick, you want to sleep all the time,
right,
but because this virus is fighting your body and your body's trying to fight it itself, your body is actually doing more harm to itself than the virus. And just laying there nonstop and not doing anything is really bad for you. So I tried to walk around in my room as much as possible. I had my Fitbit on. I would make sure I did 5,000 steps a day. This was like day 3 because the first 3 days I couldn't. But I was walking around 5,000 steps. This was after I had my lunch, so I could burn off the food. And then I'd even do a little workout too. The last half of the week, I did push-ups, I did tricep dips on the chair, and then I did squats. But I only did like, I think it was 5 sets, and I only did like 10 reps each, so by 5, so 50 in total. But that was my little routine to stay active. And then I'd watch Netflix on my iPad,
yeah.
and then yeah, that was
So
it,
wait,
man.
so I guess being, I want to say a victim because you were a victim, being that someone who had it, who went through, survived, and thank God. I'm not sure because, like I said, we've been overseas, and for us to look at the news about America, it seems like it's all negative. So I don't know about you, but I try to avoid it a lot.
Hmm.
And I just recently downloaded Facebook again, mainly because I have to promote, my podcast. And unfortunately, you see the good and the bad,
Hmm.
or the misfortunate. And I keep seeing, protests going on in America. In Damascus, like I guess Americans feel as if um, America's taking away rights by asking people to isolate, shutting down businesses, telling people to close things down. And I know that I know personally that you're a very, gung ho American, and I'm not a slight towards you or anyone that's, full force. Like I love America myself, but I know you're somebody who's really open, right, real, open and well spoken about, your support for America and like Trump and everyone, or just it's just the I guess the political situation going on in America. How do you, I guess, does that affect how you see or how you think in regards to the lockdown? Like, do you feel like they are taking away rights by locking America down? Now that you speaking from the other side of the table now, since you've
Hmm.
gone through this experience.
I don't think they're taking away rights necessarily. I think if anything, the government's looking out for its people because that's what they're doing over here too. In Germany, they're,
Same in the
everyone's on
UK.
lockdown. I mean, you can still leave your house. I mean, I don't think that right now there's no like, oh, you can only go outside between the hours of this and this. That'd be a whole different thing. But if you look at China, for example, they have police completely locking people down. You can't even
Hmm.
leave. They have drones flying around checking people, and then you get arrested. I mean, to go back to what you're saying is if the government is taking people's rights away, I don't think they're taking people's rights away. I think they're looking out for people. Even the other day, I actually saw there was a protest in California. I think it was at one of the beaches,
Hmm.
and they actually all got super close and tried to riot or protest against this whole, social distancing thing. And I think that's kind of ignorant, honestly. I mean, it's like you're putting everyone else at risk and you're putting yourself at risk. If not yourself, say you don't show symptoms and you get it, now you're putting your family at risk or other people. But for them to protest, I mean, everyone has the right to protest in America, which I think is a great thing, that
Right.
you have the freedom of speech and stuff. But I think the way they're doing it, it's not productive, and it's not moving in the right direction. It's doing more harm than good, honestly. And
And
everyone's
to be
watching too,
and
around
to
the
be
world.
clear, we're not claiming to be professionals. We're not claiming to be doctors. We're not political scientists or anything. We're just speaking our personal opinions and how we see things. So don't take what we don't. I'm not speaking for all of the UK. He's not speaking for all of Germany and all the military. We're just speaking our personal thoughts and opinions. So don't take what we say to face value and go from there. But yeah, I feel the same. Because initially I was that way. Living in the UK, it was not as bad as Europe, and well, maybe it is now, but initially it wasn't as bad as Europe or China. They saw it coming in the UK, and they were like, all right, we're gonna shut down for 3 weeks. And it's like, okay, we saw it coming. Everyone's prepared, so they shut down businesses. And then it's like after 3 weeks, they're like, oh, yeah, it got worse. We're gonna do it for 3 more weeks.
Just
And people,
extending
but
it.
yeah, so unlike America, I mean, I'm not sure how the political system here works or how they have funding or things working here. But my friends are small business owners. There are loans and things they can get, and like they're paying and the government's paying furlough for people working, people who have jobs. I think I get 80% of my pay. And
This is in the UK. They're paying you.
this is new. Yes, I
Oh
get
wow.
80% of my normal pay.
Do you have a UK
Uh,
citizenship too already?
so as of now, I'm under my wife's visa, so I can get a vignette, which allows me to work in the economy.
Okay. Is
Uh,
your wife British?
she's actually American. Yeah,
Okay.
my wife is, yeah, she's a U.S. Air Force. She's CSS.
Oh, okay, okay.
So yeah,
But because
she's
of you guys been living there so long, you guys have visas or?
oh well, no. So in the UK, I'm not sure if it's everywhere, but I know in the UK, they made it if a dependent wanted to work, because I'm military dependent. If a dependent wanted to work off the military base, you had to apply for a work visa. Well, they changed that to they
Okay.
can just add a vignette or like a little stamp in your passport. So uh, essentially, it's saying like, okay, under the power of my wife, who she's working here as a like she's legally allowed to be here per the military. I'm allowed to work off the military base as long as she's legally here under orders.
Hmm.
So I had that little stamp. So I've had a job since I moved here. I found a job, and I've just been working, like I said, at a bar, at a bank, off base. It's finally,
Okay.
but now I work at a gym, and so yeah, I get 80% of my normal pay, and it seems like the UK kind of isn't as panicky as America. I mean, people are getting restless, so we're getting because essentially the weather 90% of the time in the UK is rainy, cloudy,
It's
dreary.
like that here too in Germany.
Yeah, and
I
then
think it
all of a
affects
sudden,
everyone's mindset too.
yeah, but then all of a sudden the lockdown happened, and the sun has been beautiful.
Yep.
The day the lockdown happened, it was like like spring and summer just decided to show its face, and for like almost like 6 weeks now, people, my friend, we tan, we sit out. I have a garage gym. I open my garage, like do open garage workouts, like no heater, and it's great. And but
Hmm.
the problem was we were running into, I guess around week 3 was people were going out in public in London and Cambridge, going out like and kind of ignoring the isolation rule. They were like, oh, they almost started like a vacation, and it became more relaxed. And the government every night at 5 p.m. the government's like, hey, you guys need to stay inside. The death toll is going up, the peak is going up. It's like we're not reaching an end here.
Hmm.
And it reached a point where like they were, got more serious. Like everyone was like, look, you're gonna stay home. And like I think when they extended it longer, everyone's like, all right, maybe we should stay home a little bit. In the grocery stores, they have like the lines on the floor, or and they have little ladies going around with sticks in the grocery store.
Sticks.
So if you're walking the wrong way, they like smack your leg or like tap you till you turn
Oh,
around.
this is in the UK.
Yeah, they like have little like pokers that like point to the ground, like, hey, because they have arrows which way you should walk. And if you're walking the
Okay.
wrong direction, they'll stop you until you turn around, or like they'll poke their little stick and say, hey, move.
Oh wow.
and but it has to be because people get more lax. They've been getting lax, but like nowhere near is in America where to my understanding there hasn't even been a full lockdown. It's been suggested, stay home, close some businesses there and there. But even now, I think they're opening things back up,
I
and
think state by
everyone's like,
state too, right?
yeah, and it's like, I was like, there's no way possible. I mean, I'm not professional, but the UK was waiting for their peak to hit before they start even planning phases of getting out of the lockdown.
Mm,
And I was like, if the UK isn't even the fourth of the size of America, there's no if we haven't reached our peak yet, there's no possible way America's reached their peak. You know,
mm.
like like Texas alone is bigger than the UK, like the entire
Bigger
UK.
than Germany too, yeah.
So it's like there's no possible way the entire country has reached its peak, and then you know, I think it's a double-edged sword with how much freedom America has. I love America's freedom. I think it's a great thing that we have such freedom of speech and freedom to go out and protest. And I
Mm.
think that's what makes us stand out from other countries. I think on the opposite side of that is people tend to abuse that power and want to protest the things that honestly,
They
like,
should. I never thought people would protest this, honestly.
yeah, yeah, like, I thought like, oh, like this is an obvious problem, like, not just small third world countries, like
It's the whole
entire
world.
countries, like biggest countries and big trade countries in the world are shutting down. Like there are like the moment they said there's no more flights, the moment they stop doing cruises, the moment they stop literally things that make rich people rich are stopped. I was
Mm.
like, so in my head, I'm like, oh, this is serious. So for you to, I guess, take it lightly and be like, oh, well, these doctors don't know what they're talking about. It's like, excuse me, like when these my friends are doctors and nurses and they're working relentlessly, like 12 hours a day, every single day, if not more, putting their families and friends at risk and their life at risk because and you feel like you're and this is my anger and excuse me if I'm offending anyone, but it honestly hurt. It almost like makes me want to cry to think that like my country, like a lot of people are just like, this isn't right. You're an idiot. This come out like everyone in the country is an idiot for wanting to take this virus seriously. It's just a hoax. And it's like, what? How can you say like when the media and real life, when the media and doctors agree, like stop what you're doing, it's real because
Mm.
normally media and professionals don't ever agree with things. And so when like the news and like professionals are both agreeing, like, hey, like preaching the same thing, and even like the political leaders, it's like a perfect trifecta of, hey, maybe I should listen. Like political leaders, medical professionals, and media are all agreeing, stop what you're doing, and you don't. And you're like, I don't think I think I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you
It
know,
doesn't apply to me.
yeah, and it's almost like the arrogant. Like I compare America's arrogance to Italians, like not arrogance, but just attitudes. I'm not sure if you remember in Italy, but like the further south in Italy you went, the more it was the less English they spoke.
Mm.
And so it was like, oh, you're in Italy, you should speak Italian. And it's like the same way in America, or it's like, you're in our country, you should learn more about our country. It's the same way in America. It's like we're so proud and boastful about like, being American. If you're here, you need to get with the program. But it's like, maybe you should like kind of pay attention like to what's going on everywhere else in the world and not just America, because this is a worldwide issue. This isn't
Yep.
just a fact. Like, what happens when all the other countries who abided by these, rules that were put in place by their government, they open up, but America's still suffering from these issues. You know, think about the long-term repercussions. The major America's a major trade country. How can you, if you can't fly or ship anything in and out of your country due to risk of contamination or risk of the virus, how do you make money?
Yep.
And my wife currently works in a post office, and they got brief, hey, the virus can be on boxes, it's on plastic, so wear gloves, wear a mask, and it's like,
That's scary.
it's and then like you get told in the news, hey, it's in the air. If people sneeze, it's up to 6 feet in the air, it's just lingering there, so be careful, but not to not to bring down the mood. I get really passionate about maybe because I've been stuck in the house for 6 weeks, but yeah, that's uh, me to
No,
go on a
I think
tangent.
I think the media definitely scares people. I mean, I'm sure that's not all of their intent for every different broadcasting company, but that's why I don't really watch the news too much, is because it's always designed around fear for the public, and they're always every time I turn on the news, it's always negative stuff. So I'm all about trying to stay positive and grow yourself, grow your mindset. Just continue pushing forward. That's why I don't watch the news too much or dig into that too much.
Yeah, that's it. You living in Germany is beautiful, so it's like I have better things to do than to sit at home and see what's going on the news, or see what's going on TV, where I can just go live my life.
I don't even have regular TV here too. We only have Netflix, and every time we just want to watch a movie, we have to stream it. So
yeah, same. So like, how much longer do you have in the military?
So I have exactly, so it is now May. So next month will actually be my 9-year mark, June 14th. So on that day, I'll have exactly 1 year till my separation date. But I'm applying for this program called the Duty Skill Bridge Program. What it is, in a nutshell, is it allows you to intern with a company during your last 6 months of your enlistment. So that'll put me at January if I'm approved. So if I get approved, I would be done with the military in January, which is in what? So it's May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. That's 8 months. So if I get approved, I'll be done in 8 months, which is crazy. And I'll be interning with a real estate company in California. I'm working on my real estate pre-licensing courses right now.
Right.
And I plan to test before I go back to the States, and when I'm in the States, and then intern with this company for those 6 months. And you still get paid by the military too. That's a cool thing. You still get paid, so you have a paycheck coming in while you're interning. And then once I hit my separation date in June, I'm going into the IMA reserve program, and then I'll be a civilian doing real estate full time and
Are you
videography.
able to take advantage of all the VA benefits if you're a guard or reserve? I'm not familiar with.
So I'm not too familiar on VA benefits and stuff. That's what I wanted to ask you, since when you retired, they went through everything with you. And I've went through TAPS already as well. TAPS is that transition assistance program. Like what Justin was saying earlier, it allows you, all military members separating or retiring, they have to go within like a year or some time frame.
Right.
And you can go up to 2 times. So like I went last year already, and because they had an available slot. And now I'm about to go again in May. I'm supposed to, but I don't know what's going to happen. This whole thing is going on, so it's probably going to get pushed back further. But with the VA, I don't know how it works in the Guard and Reserve too much. I just know that if I do get a VA rating, I cannot collect a VA paycheck during the month that I'm on Guard or Reserve duty, to my understanding.
That's really good. So the other 11 months, you can still get it.
Exactly. But there's also stipulations to that too. So if I was rated at like 100%, I'd have to get a medical waiver, as of course, with the military, there's a waiver for everything. But that's what my in-service recruiter said. If I get 100, I mean, I'm not trying to get full disability. I mean, but even my friend even told me that has 100%, is that just because you have 100 doesn't mean you have your arms blown off and all this stuff. It just means you have a lot of issues with you medically. And it doesn't necessarily mean you can't perform your duties or work still. So say I got 100, hypothetically speaking, I could still do the reserves if I got the waiver approved and a medical, I guess, authority figure approves my package still.
And then they would just adjust your job accordingly to,
as long as I'm not like limited on performing my duties. So if I can do all of my work still with no issues, but I still have a rating, it's okay, to my understanding. And this is based off of the research I've done, and then also my in-service recruiter.
So yeah, like I said, you're on the right path. With me, it was, I went through TAPS, and I wish I had gone through twice. I didn't know you could go through twice at the time, and I found out afterwards when I was in, but I was already like 2 months out from leaving. But I went through, and it was so much information, and I kind of got what I could out. But I remember my biggest thing was when you go talk to the VA about your benefits, or like not benefits, your disability. It was actually, they sit you down in front of like a small table, and they have your file of just all your medical work, and they kind of since you've been in, and they go through it, and it's almost like they ask you, what do you want to talk about, or what do you want to claim? And for me, I was like, I hurt my knee when I was in the military, I was on crutches for a while, and and it's like I had a rash when I lived in Guam, but that was it. And coming to find, but I was like, maybe I'm not. I might have like only want, like, if I can get like 40%, it'll be enough. That's enough to like have a car payment, a nice car payment once a month. And I remember he was like, all right, so he's like, I see here that you. He's like, I see here that you went to mental health. I was like, oh yeah, they kind of diagnosed it with some kind of adjustment disorder. I was in Aviano. I went through this depressive stage, and I was forced to see a chaplain actually came to my job, and like didn't force me. He's persuade me in a very forceful way to like, it was one of those situations where it was like he was a major, and I didn't want to be rude. And he picked me from my job. He's like took me to my dorm room. And he's kind of sat there. He was on the floor, And he's like, so you want to go to mental health? And I was like, no, man, I'm fine. Like, I'm not gonna kill myself or anything. I'm just, just going through a lot. I'm not a maintenance person by trade in my in the outside, so I'm forced to be a crew chief, and it's not my thing. And he was like, no, I think you should go to mental health. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna go. He's like, oh, well, looks like you have a new roommate. So he like lays on the floor. He like lays on the
He
floor, puts
laid
his
on
feet
the
up on
floor.
my bed. And I was like, oh my God, this guy's really not gonna let me. Which in hindsight, I thank God for him, because if something did happen to me, if I did decide, to end my life or something so tragic, it would have fallen on him, because he talked to me and he didn't, so, like, anything could have happened. But yeah, I went to mental health. And so, yeah, they saw that in my file. He was like, oh, yes. It's like, you can claim that. I was like, okay, I'll claim that. Then the rash I had on Guam, I assumed this was a bad, like I went to a dermatologist and I thought I just had a bad skin rash. And turns out in Guam, a lot of people, so if anyone's been to Guam and you get a skin rash, listen to this. Apparently the water is toxic in Guam. A lot of the
What?
water is toxic because of the war that happened there, or the battles that happened there, or whatever. A lot of like unexploded ordnance are in the water, and a lot of just it's a lot of still water. A lot of the stagnant water areas are really, really like just bad. Like it was like, I think it was a thing I saw, a news article I read, like testing the water in Guam. And my friend worked at public health, and a lot of like the still water in Guam, when people went swimming, like the little lakes and the little ponds and whatnot, people went swimming in, they were essentially just like toxic. And
Wow.
apparently, like a lot of people were catching skin when I was there. People were catching skin rashes. So I claimed that, and that was like, I think on its own, like 10%,
Okay.
and so I get a pretty decent amount of disability now, between mental health, my knees, and like that. And I want to talk to the VA, because you can talk to them as much as possible once you're out. But if you talk to them while you're in, before you actually separate 100%, they put you as a priority. So whereas the people who are regular veterans, they have to be seen. They have to wait in like the waiting list. While if you're active duty, they put you at the top of the list to prioritize you.
Give a
So
high
that so
priority.
I, so yeah, in 30 days I had my rating, and I was like, it said like this percent. And I was like, wow, that's way more than I thought it was going to be. And so with that, and it's like they put you on I think over 40%. You can apply for like disabled veteran benefits, such as like when you're applying for like a federal job. You can
Okay.
put disabled veteran. Over 40%, you qualify for something called it's for college. I can't remember the name, but it's for college though. I can't think of the name of it right now.
It's
But
like
yeah,
a
you
loan.
yeah, no, it's not even a
Business.
loan. It's like they give you vocational rehab.
Okay.
You can apply for voc rehab, and it's pretty much like like additional free schooling, I guess you can say, without explaining
Oh
too much.
wow. Like it's benefits or tuition assistance?
Um, it's more of they put you through a course, or like a class, or like, not a class, but like a course study, or a program. Say they put you through a school. Say your job in the military was you were a medical med tech, or like a nurse or something in the military, and you couldn't do that because your disability. They put you through a course to give you an equivalent of that job on the outside, essentially.
Oh, okay.
I haven't used it. I'm not proficient at it. I'm not 100% on it. There's VA people I can talk to. I just haven't had a chance to do it. You can also go talk to the VA after you're out. So once you're out, once you're in, you're in. And so yeah, if you ever want to like change your benefits, I actually want to go talk to them about my hearing, because I've been losing hearing in my left ear. And everyone told me, oh, did you not get tinnitus on your disability? And everyone that was in before, I was like, no, it's a thing. And they were like, yeah, like if you're a maintainer, if you're a cop, anyone that deals with loud noises, they can almost tell you're going to have tinnitus because you're around loud noises all the time.
Yeah, you're gonna be exposed to the loud noise.
So yeah, yeah, yeah. So if you just make sure whatever even if you stubbed your toe, you went to the doctor for it, anything you went to medical for, write that on your list, or write that on your VA list, because they can claim anything that's service related is going to help you in your benefits.
Okay. So you said you got over 40%, if you don't mind me
Yeah,
asking.
well,
Okay.
well over 40%.
Okay.
So I'm comfortable with how much I have. And like I said, I want to go back for my hearing, so hopefully that'll give me a little bit more. But yeah, man, it's helpful, because it's for the rest of your life you're getting this money, and
Yep.
it's like it's not like you're taking advantage of anything. Because at first I was like, oh, I don't want to be that guy who's like, being accused in the government. But it's that's what it's there for. Like this,
Mm-hmm.
they literally set you, like you served your time in the military. You risked your life and you served your country. They're rewarding you. Well, not rewarding you, but they're benefiting you now
They're
by
compensating you for the
yeah,
what you sacrificed. And
yeah,
I like what you're saying too. I don't think you're taking advantage of the system in any way, as long as you're being honest about what you actually have
right.
wrong with you. As long as you document everything. From what they told me to, you make sure you document every single medical problem that you've had in the military,
Every
because
single thing.
even a 0 rating with a VA rating
Hmm.
is 0. It might look like it's nothing, but it's a 0, so it's a percentage. Whereas if it says nothing at all and you try and go in
Hmm.
after the fact when you get out, it's way harder to get any percentage.
Yeah, it's like as long as you have something like because I have this X% of disability. I guess I have 70% disability, but a lot of things I claim, like a lot of things that are showing, like the 70% of what they're paying out for, is only like 3 or 4 things. Whereas I have a list of things on that list that they saw,
Mm,
so I can always go back to be seen for like my eyesight or me like hurting my arm or something, something along those lines. As
mhm.
long as and if they link it to being service related, you can get paid compensated for
No, I definitely agree with that. And, like, as long as you get every single thing documented, even if you don't have it right now, but you've had it in the past, as long as it's on your medical record, then it'll help you in the long run because at least it's written down there for you. When you went through that process, though, what was it like? Was it very, complicated to get everything documented? Was there a final approver when you went through, and was that like your last week in the military? And then when did you get your first VA disability check?
It was actually pretty easy. Like I said, as long as you do it while you're in, that's the easy part. My best friend did it when she was out because she was just in a hurry to get out, and she's just recently got her first check, and she got out before I did.
Oh
And
wow.
it's just really difficult. So while you, if I recommend, highly recommend, if while you're in, try to get as much done as possible, because like I said, they put you on a priority list. But it's super easy because your priority, they get you appointments like the next week, the next month, every day. Like it's almost like everything goes super fast but the problem is, instead of when you're in processing, you're out processing a base, they tell you where to go. With this, it's like you figure it out on your own. But once you figure it out, you have control of when it happens. So, you're like, all right, you need to call the VA and schedule this appointment. It's like, all right, cool, I'm gonna call the VA. You need to go here and do this. Like, all right, I'm gonna do this. Instead of, like I said, while you're in the military, they kind of take care of you. When you're getting out, like you're on your own.
Oh
But
yeah.
like, but it's really fast. Like it happens. Like I think I started the whole process when I was in. I got out in April. My leave started in March, so I want to say January. I started the whole thing. January, December time, I started the whole thing, and I was done by February, March. So maybe 2, 3 months it took me to get everything done with the VA, all my appointments and everything to get seen. They call you into a VA appointment, like so you go see the VA a person that he comes to base like maybe twice a week when I was in South Carolina. So one of those 2 days that you go see the VA guy and he comes to base, runs through your list, then he's like, all right, I'm schedule an appointment to go see the actual VA doctor or VA building facilities, which is in South Carolina. It was in Columbia, I think it was. So I'm gonna send you to Columbia, and you're gonna go to your appointments. It's like, okay, cool. So you go to your appointments. They do the military workup. Check your knees, check your body, check your list, and they're like, all right, is there anything different you want to claim or anything you want to add to your claim? Don't be shy. if your eye is itching that day, like, oh yeah, I have this eye little twitch, anything, because that's gonna be in your file for the rest of your life now. And so yeah, after that, you're done. And I would say, so that was done. And you don't get your first check until you're out of the military because you technically can't collect disability while you're
Twice.
active duty.
Yeah, it's like what I was saying, how you can't have two paychecks while
So
you're in the
I
Guard
got out
Reserve.
April 17th. No, I think because my terminal leave started in March. I got out April 17th. My first check was like May 1st.
Oh, what? So not even a month
Yeah.
then. Wow.
So yeah, so when people tell me like, "Oh, I've had such a bad time with the VA and this and that," it's like I can almost guarantee it's because they didn't put forth a real effort to try to get things done.
They
Uh,
didn't prepare and plan ahead.
Yeah. Like I
Okay.
was so big on like I have to get everything done. I'm such a planner that like when I was like, this is my date, and like so I had my disability rating. Cause I think I checked. I was on a flight back to North Carolina for a wedding because I was living in Vegas at the time. Um, yeah, I checked in the airport. I think it was like April because I got April 17th. I checked. I think I checked like April 20th, and it was like, oh, you have 70% disability, and I was like,
Oh, that's
I was
how
like,
they email you your rating. They don't tell
no,
you at
no,
your
no, no.
last appointment.
They don't even email you. They you just log onto your, because you make an e-benefits account and you log onto your e-benefits and you just check your e-benefits account and it's like, oh, there's your rating. It's like it's like there's no notifications, there's no
Oh
nothing. Like they
wow.
don't tell you at your appointments. Like you won't find out at your appointment. Like yeah, you won't find out. Because they
Do
have to do.
they tell you an estimate? Okay, I think you're gonna be around it. Oh wow. Okay.
Like so,
Huh.
whenever because everyone told me the same thing. Everyone's like, "Oh, you'll get this amount for this if you say this, and they should hint to you this." No, it's like their job is to sit there, assess you, and then send this assessment off to someone else. So if they tell you information, they could be wrong. So I mean, you gotta have someone nice, like, "Oh yeah, I've heard this and this and that," but like essentially they have to do like doctor does their check, then they send it to like I don't know what it's called, but a person that assesses your service related injury, and they determine your disability rating based off that.
I see. Okay. So and then you
Yeah.
got your first check in you said it was May.
Yeah, so you make sure you set direct deposit on your make sure you set your e-benefits account. Don't forget the password because they have to like mail you a new password if you do. So create that and write down that password. You have to change it like every 30 days. But yeah, set up your direct deposit and yeah, like the first of the month or the end of the month, I guess you could say if you have USAA. Excuse me. Yeah, you'll have your first check in your account.
Okay. Well, so it's once a
Essentially,
month as well. All right.
yeah, once a month for the rest of your life.
Okay. No, I think that's one of the biggest benefits too, on top of the VA loan and stuff, is just the disability check that you can get out of the military. I don't want to say
Yeah,
get because that sounds bad, but that you are compensated out of the
yeah,
military for your service, because, like you said, it is for the rest of your life. So that could be $1 million, in total by the end of your life term. Um, but the biggest thing is just make sure you plan ahead and prepare too, because I think for me too, that's what I'm relying on when I get out of active duty. I'm not going to have a paycheck. So when I'm in that program, okay, I'm taking care of those 6 months. But what happens once June 13th hits? That's the day I'm completely out of activity. Where am I going to get my money? That's
yeah,
when I'm hoping I'll be. I don't want to say hoping. Actually, that's when I know I'm going to be doing proficient and be confident in real estate. And that's when I know I'm going to be pushing leads out, getting leads in, and making money through that. And then also my side businesses. But with the VA disability, if I get a good rating, that'll be an extra amount of money that'll help supplement whatever I'm making. And then also, if you are using, have you used your GI Bill yet?
yes. Look, I was fortunate enough to have almost a bachelor's degree while I was in. So I spent like maybe a year of my GI Bill getting finished my bachelor's degree, and then I'm doing my master's right now. So I think I still have a little bit of time, well, years left. But
Okay.
yeah, I think you get, I think 36 months
Yeah.
free
So did
school.
you use the post 9/11 or did you use
Post
there's
9/11.
two?
Yeah, 'cause I think at some point in time, I think it was after us, they stopped selling the Montgomery.
Okay.
I think it was after us because when I joined, they were talking about it. But then I think the class next to me were like, "Oh, we only got offered the post 9/11 or the yeah." But yeah, I highly recommend, especially when you go through TAPS, they tell you about it. Like listen to the Montgomery GI Bill, and I was like, that doesn't make sense. Why would you take the lump sum right up front, and then like something happens, and you might have to pay it back? It just seemed kind of risky to me. Whereas the post 9/11 was like, all right, you just get paid every month for school, and they cover everything else. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's easy.
Yep. And sorry to interrupt, but yeah, even with the post 9/11, that's what I'm relying on. So when I get out, say June timeframe, I'm working on my master's now. I'm trying to finish it before I get out. But with the post 9/11, the biggest thing with that is you get paid BAH. So
Mhm.
that money that I'm getting paid for rent, essentially, it will help supplement the cost as well. And they're paying they're paying for your school. They're not paying for books. You got to pay out of pocket for that. But they're paying for the
Oh,
tuition for the school.
well, for
Oh, do they
master's
pay?
degree, yes. For master's degree, yeah, you have to pay out of pocket. For bachelor's,
Okay.
they covered it. For bachelor's, they covered it. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. So for whatever, if it's not a bachelor's, if it's a master's, you got to pay for your books. They pay for the tuition for the class. If there's any other extra fees or whatever for the course, technology fees, whatever bullshit, you got to
yeah,
pay for that too. But you get the BH too. So, and it depends on the area too. So for me, I'm going back to California. As you know, California is a freaking expensive state to live in.
yeah,
Depends on which school you go to, what area it's in, because that will determine how much you're getting paid. So if you go to like say like an Ivy League school where it's super expensive, the cost of living to live in that area is like say $3,000 to 4,000 you'll
yeah.
get a month. That's a good amount, to
Well,
have
see,
supplemented.
that's something I didn't realize until I went through TAPS, where I was like, oh, I'm gonna move overseas. They're like, well, are you going to school online? And I was like, yeah. Like, well, if you go to school online, you only get 800. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. So yeah, if you go to school online, you only get like a portion, which is 800. You only get $800 a month for every total for like
Okay.
your BH. So no matter where you are in the world, if you're going to school strictly online. Now that changes though if you, I'm sure they told you this. If you go through online class, hybrid class, so long as if you have one sit down class a month, you'll get the full BH. So I did
Yep.
that when I was stationed here or living here, and I was making a lot because of overseas, but I had one sit down class a month for
Okay.
so I
So
was
that's
going to
like the
school.
little loophole then to get the full,
Yeah.
collect the full BH. So you can use your post 9/11 overseas then. Can it be any
hmm
school or does it have to be a sponsored school?
If you check the, I think it's like called vet.gov website, they have a school checker. So in all the schools that are approved GI Bill in the world. Uh, so I luckily I was able to get on to, I was driving to RAF Lincoln Heath
Mm.
once a month. I just got a hotel up there because it's about an hour and a half for me. But excuse me. Uh, but yeah, if I was to go to school, actually, if I was to go to school, I think in the economy, it would have been, I would have gotten less money.
Really? Okay.
So
So
which
you're really getting the benefits worth with the post
yeah.
9/11.
So yeah, it was, yeah, man. I take advantage of military benefits, like getting out. I wish I had listened more when it came to the business loans and the home loans. I'm still learning about the home loans. I know you can't use the home loans overseas, unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
because the banks can't regulate overseas. But
Are you looking at buying a property over there in the UK or are you guys going to move to the States eventually?
well, I want to eventually own a house here, buy a house here in the UK. Just because I love the UK so much, and I'd love to live here for the rest of my life. Like I want to come back here. It's beautiful, but but you can't use the VA home loan in the overseas. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's only applies to America. The business loan, I'm still learning about. Like I said, I think I messaged you about it recently, or asked you about it. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. I want to learn more about it because I wanted to open a business. Like I said, the creative brain always trying to go and do something new. But essentially, I might just use my VA home loan to buy a house in the States and rent it out, maybe something. Just to take advantage of that benefit. I have it. What's the point of not having it and not using it?
Yeah, no, and so going back to the business loan, what business are you starting? Is it for the Misplaced American or is it another business
No,
venture you're starting?
I actually hopefully want to start. Without giving too much information out, I want to open an American bar in overseas,
Oh,
like
cool.
an American style bar. Everyone like being in the UK. I've noticed people love American things. Oh, like you go somewhere, it's like, oh, these are American style hot wings or American burgers or American style hot dogs, and I was like, and you go try it as an American, you're like, it sucks. Like this is not good. This is
This
not
ain't
American.
Buffalo Wild Wings. What is
Yeah,
this? This
this
ain't
ain't this ain't
TGIF.
this ain't B Dubs. Like what's got here? What's going on? So I was like, you know what? Like if I was an American, it was to open an American bar and then have like American, like Southern people from my like North Carolina come like make barbecue and like stuff like that. That'd sell. But but yeah, that's just, or even in America, have one of my British friends come work for me in America and open a British pub because Americans love the way British people sound. Just those kind of ideas. Hopefully one day in the future, like this isn't anything. It's all in the planning stages, and and I have my idea of how I want to do it. So I'm not afraid of telling people like that part of it, but I have in my head ways I know I can make this work. It's just finding out how to take advantage of my VA benefits. I'm learning about stocks and the stock market and all that stuff. So I've been putting money into that and making and losing money with stocks. I think losing more so than making, but
Yeah, especially in the time we're in right now. And for those of you watching this video, I have a Facebook group. It's called Vets to CEOs. What it is we all collaborate together, and it's only for military veterans or those that are still in the military, of course. It teaches and helps veterans that want to start their own businesses or those that are separating from the military want to start something and make a name for themselves. And it also is there to help those that are transitioning out. You don't necessarily have to have the entrepreneur mindset, but if you are looking for that helping hand or that mentorship or guidance, all the people in the group, we're trying to form a community of veterans that are able to help each other. So if you guys go into the link below, where I'm going to post a link there too. It's called Vets to CEOs. It's a Facebook mentorship group. There's going to be some questions you got to answer before you get in to confirm that you are prior military. But yeah, make sure y'all check that out. But Justin, yeah, to go back to what you were saying about stocks, yeah, the stock market is pretty crazy right now. For me personally, I always buy and hold, even with the stocks going down right now. And disclaimer, I'm not a professional finance advisors. So take what you want from this. Is my personal experience, but I always buy and hold index funds. And the way I see it, when the prices are going down, that is a discounted price for you to now buy into those companies. And it's all about the long-term wealth, not short-term. Unless you're a full-time day trader and you have millions of dollars of, just cash laying around to throw out there, then I don't recommend short trading unless that's what you want to do as a full-time position or full-time job, because there's people out there that do that. But I always go in for the long term, man. So with index funds and even individual companies, it's kind of scary to invest in unless you really know the company. Like if you look at the cruise lines and stuff, how
So I
scary
was
it
gonna say
is.
that because I'm just doing like the small stuff, like here and there, trying to learn about it. And because I'm in a group chat with some other military friends who've been here for like 18 years, and they have been in like 8 deployments, so they have money put away. And one guy's like, "Oh, I just lost like 14 grand in like Amazon." I was like, "Jesus Christ!" Like, I was like, I
I
was
have a
like,
heart attack.
man, I think I had like put 400 somewhere. And I was freaking out because it went down to like 395. But yeah, I bought a lot of in Carnival Cruises actually, because Carnival Cruise and EasyJet, which is
Okay.
if you're overseas, EasyJet is a really big, cheap flight like Ryanair. And for a while, it was like, I want to say EasyJet was down to like almost $4, and Carnival Cruises was down to like almost 8. And I was
Wow.
like, oh, I'm just gonna buy like 20 shares each, maybe. Just fuck it. Excuse my language. I was like, oh, screw it. Let me just do it. And I bought it, and it recently jumped up. I think I made like almost a little over $100 on each.
Yeah.
Like I was like, wow, like and like, but I was looking like if they get back to what they were prior to the lockdown and all the coronavirus things, I could easily make off my shares like a little over $1,000 each.
Mm-hmm.
I was
So,
like,
yeah, that's the good thing about investing in individual stocks. It is a lot more riskier, of course, because if that company goes bankrupt or quote
yeah,
shuts down, you lose your entire investment. So if you put $10,000 into, let's say Apple, hypothetically speaking, and they go out of business, you just lost $10,000. Whereas if you
hmm
go into an individual stock or individual fund, it's more diversified. It's across like 1,000 companies. So if one goes bankrupt, you still have 999
hmm
companies you're invested in. But yeah, no, like I have money in Carnival as well. I bought Royal Caribbean. I'm looking at Delta right now as well. A couple of my friends, their last, I think it was the last quarter before May, they looked at their portfolio and their gains was crazy. They made over, I think their profit was like 5,000 in a lot of the airlines they invested in. I'm like, holy cow, that's crazy, man. Because I
jeez,
have a friend that I wish I bought, and I was looking at Tesla. It was like a month ago when
yeah.
this whole thing was going down. Tesla was
Oh
like
yeah.
at 1,000 or more, and then it dropped all the way down to 363. And I was thinking,
hmm
okay, with this whole virus, the more that it continues to spread, the more unemployment rates go up, and the more, I don't want to sound insincere, but the more people that are passing away, this is going to continue to have the stock market going down. It went the complete opposite. Started going
Yeah.
up, but I think it was also due to the Fed pump as well.
I regret not doing Amazon, Netflix, all the social media sites. Like everything I was looking at was affordable at one point. Now are like insane. I was like, oh man, I regret not doing that. Or one that people aren't thinking about, gold. I think I put like $5 or like five. I bought like 5 shares of this gold website, and I think I ended up making at one point $25, $30 off my $5 from gold. And I was like, why is gold on the way up? Like something
Mm-hmm.
weird. Just weird things you honestly, like I said, we're not professionals. Just like play with it. I have Robinhood. I use Robinhood app. I just play with it and just like look at what's falling, what's rising. Just research it. And I look online. One of my friends, he had it's called the podcast is called Redirect. He had a guy who does classes for stock markets, and he was like, he told the listeners, uh, older people didn't really teach our generation about this kind of thing, and it was because they were almost essentially they were afraid of it. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you weren't rich, this wasn't a poor man's game. So if you didn't have like X amount of money, they didn't recommend you did do it, or even things about like credit cards or credit. But it's like those things that like people like I guess where I'm from in my generation are afraid of. Like I mentioned the word credit card to my friends or like my family, and they're like, "Oh, that's the devil. Don't get credit cards." But I have like 8, and I at one point I had like a 780, almost 800 credit score,
Mm-hmm.
and just because I'm really good with managing my money and how like I know how credit works, I know how loans work, I know how like your credit score works, and so like I just recommend anyone that's afraid of stock markets, afraid of credit cards, afraid of loans, and don't really know how, I guess, the credit score works, do as much research as possible. Otherwise, it's like you're going to be when you reach 40 years old and you realize your credit score is like 600, and you're like, well, why can't I buy a house? You
Yeah,
know?
you learn the hard way.
Yeah.
I just to piggyback off what you're saying, Warren Buffett, one of the greatest things he's ever said to everyone, and he's one of the richest men in the world. He's one of the top investors. He says the greatest thing to invest in, and not just stocks, is yourself. Because when you invest in yourself, I'm talking like not just necessarily formal education, but just skill sets and learning and continue to increase your mind. That's something no one can ever take away from you, obviously, unless you die or something. But that's something no one can ever take away from you, because that's the skill
Yeah.
sets that you can offer to the marketplace. So always invest in yourself. Always live below your means until your debt to income ratio uh, is
Hmm.
is a lot lower. And then also always invest for the long term and not the short term. So those are my three biggest tips. That I wish I had someone tell me that when I was 18 years old and joined the
Yep.
military, because my spending would be a lot different. And like, to go back to what you said, you had 8 credit cards. Just because they have 8
But
credit cards is not a bad thing. It's actually,
yeah.
for me, I think it's a good thing, as long as you know how to manage your money, because that's also called credit card hacking too. If you guys look it up, it's a little growth
Yeah,
wealth hack.
that's a whole podcast for another day. Because I could, oh man, I love preaching to my friends about the kind of thing. I'm like, yo, use this for this rewards, these for travel rewards, pay your bills with this one so you can get these reward points back. And I'm like, oh man, like I just, it's like I said, it's podcast for another day. I know we've been going for a while. I'm not sure
Yeah,
how long we've
we
been
can we
going.
can do that in another future video. And for those of you guys watching,
Yeah.
make sure you don't forget to subscribe to both our channels, hit the notification bell, and comment below what you loved about this video so far. But to close things out, one more question: do you have the Amex Platinum card?
Not the platinum. I just have the Delta, just regular blue card.
Okay, so
Just
with
just
I'm
because
sorry, go ahead.
I wanted to play with it first and see like what if I was actually using it, because living in the UK, Amex wasn't accepted everywhere. Uh,
That's
I would
true.
say
Europe.
the more it's being accepted now. Before the virus, I noticed it was being more accepted everywhere. So I think I'm going to try to upgrade to this, mainly because I travel a lot and I use Delta all the time, and I
Mhm.
really hate. It sounds picky. I really hate going through TSA, so I want to do TSA pre-check. But but yeah, so yeah, I'm definitely gonna upgrade to that. Do you have it?
Okay. Yeah, so I wanted to share with everyone, if you are active duty, one of the best credit cards that you can possibly have while in the military on active duty orders, you have to be active duty, is the Amex Platinum card, the American Express Platinum card, because it's the perfect travel card. Now, necessarily right now is not a good time because you can't travel, but what I love about it is you have access to all of the luxury lounges at every single airport in the world. You have so many benefits that you're entitled to as a platinum holder, and you don't pay any fees. So when I say fees, I'm talking about the annual fees. So as an active duty military member, when you
Hmm.
sign up for this credit card, you just send them your active duty orders, and they completely waive that credit card fee every single year. So the personal platinum card, it's like a $600 charge per year. And then I
Mm-hmm.
also have the business platinum card. They have different benefits as well. Uh, the business platinum card, it's a little lower than that. I think it's like 500, but still, can you imagine paying $500 or $600 every single year? But if you are active duty, make sure you guys check out American Express, their platinum card. I'll post a link below too. Disclaimer is it is an affiliate link. If you do sign up with my link, you will get 60,000 points for the personal platinum card. But if you have a business and you want to open a business platinum card, you'll get 50,000 points, and that'll go to you. And then I'll only get like 10,000. But yeah, disclaimer, that is a referral link. You don't have to use it. It's just to help my channel grow, and it's also an affiliate link. But you can just go to the website as well.
Tell my wife about that. Maybe she'll get some points on this. Help
I'll
hook,
send
hook
her.
my.
I'll send her my affiliate link.
It's like, let's plug this in here really quick. But yeah,
Yeah,
man.
look it up, man.
This was good. I definitely, like I said, this part of the podcast definitely has me thinking about another future podcast, because my brain's always going, and I definitely want to do more to help more, I guess, veterans. So we could maybe do a collab, another, again, just for the page, for like the Facebook page, just talking about veteran benefits, things you could do on the outside, credit, loan, like the most things that, like I said, as A1, like young A1Cs, we didn't know in the military. Maybe helping out, like, new airmen, like, hey, share this with your young airman friends, or like people thinking about getting out of the military who don't have a plan. That's something I definitely want to. I honestly didn't think about doing it until just talking to you. So thanks for that.
Awesome. No, I think we'll definitely link up again. We'll share more videos with everyone, and everyone watching, make sure you comment below what future videos would you like to watch from both of us? What kind of topics do you want to see us speak about and share with you? Because we'll definitely plan around those content strategies or content that you guys want us to create videos on. To close things out with investing, I wish I had a mentor back when I was 18, because a friend of ours, I'll tell you later, a friend of ours, he's been investing since he joined the military, and he said it took him about 8 to 10 years to hit $1 million in his portfolio while still in the military. And I'm like, oh my God. And he was in his 20s still too. And I'm like, that is crazy. So the military is just like a extra amount of money in his pocket just to pay for
Yeah,
groceries at this point. But I was like, man, if I had started investing at 18, and I'm now 28 as of last, well, both of us are in March actually, dude. We could
yeah.
have celebrated via Zoom next time. But yeah, if I had invested at 18 and had put a lot of money into stocks or real estate or whatever,
Or even
we could be.
high interest savings accounts. Like most people
Mhm.
don't think about those. Like I found one that at one point was 3% interest. 3%, and like they might talk about 3% is a lot of money. Like
Yep.
considering most high interest savings account are maybe like 0.05% or maybe even 1% interest. So, but yeah,
That's another topic we can
it's a
talk in the
tangent.
future.
It's a
You're
whole
about to
tangent.
get
I'm
going
telling you.
down about to go down that road. We should name our future podcast series like Whiskey and Veterans and Finance or something, where we're drinking,
Oh
talking,
man,
everything.
that would go on for days. Actually, that's a really good idea. That's
It'll get the
another
juices flowing too, man.
another day. Another day.
Yeah. But thank you all for viewing this video too. And if y'all have any further questions, make sure you comment below, and make sure you subscribe to both our YouTube channels and follow us on social media. And
Also, Spotify, the Misplaced American. It looks like me. It's a bald guy with a map. So
yeah, make sure you check them out on Spotify. So if they go on Spotify, they can just search you up and they can
search
download your podcast.
the Misplaced American, and just you can just follow there. I post episodes every week. I do my best to do that to keep people happy. So
Awesome. Cool. Yeah. So y'all just subscribe to us, and we'll see y'all in the next video.